Welcome back to Bill's Bets and Beers. This is Chad, your host. Uh, if you're new to the channel, this channel is something where I would be talking about football, mostly the Bills, big win tonight, and on top of that, doing talking about some parlays that I'm gonna be putting in this weekend, or I've already put in for the game, or I'm gonna be putting in for this weekend for like the other football games and some other bets on some hit on the Thursday night. I've already had a couple hit on Thursday night already, and just doing some like small bets, big bets, anything ranging from like 7 to like 16 parlays, and then doing some tasting and ratings of some tasty brews. Today, I've been drinking throughout the game, but it's going to be Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA. You can find it pretty much anywhere. I have it in my local Sure Find. They have them at Fast Track, pretty much anywhere in Central New York at this point. I'm not sure if they might be in your area, but who knows? If they are, that'd be great. Um, let's go on. We're gonna go to NFL news. So before I talk about the game, um, Dawson Knox got his huge contract. He's going to get around 54 mil extension for 4 years. He's going to be around a top 5 paid tight end. That's great for him. Also, Flacco is actually starting for the Jets week 1. I know that's not huge news if you're not like a Jets fan, but I follow the AFC East a lot, and there wasn't much big news coming up to this week 1. So this is something I figured I would just bring up because I know Wilson was almost pretty much out, but there was news he was going to be in, and that he is not now. So I figured I'd bring that up. Okay, next on to my massive 16 leg parlay. So what I did was I took all of the 16 games that are playing this week, including this Thursday nighter, and I bet on them. So I pretty much either picked people covering the spread or being under and over the teams being under and over on final game point score. I didn't take too many people I guess upsets in a sense, but we can go we can explain from there. Give me a second. I'm gonna take a sip. Just this Juice Force, if I could, I would choose to be sponsored by New Belgium Voodoo Ranger. Okay, so we have obviously the first one is the Bills at the Rams. It just ended, but I put a bet in at the Bills plus 2.5. I thought that was pretty good, even though we're at their stadium and all that stuff. And at halftime, we'd had a lot of mistakes, but as if you watch my other videos, I was it wouldn't have panned off, but I was going to say sorry, not Dawson Knox. I was going to say Gabriel Davis was going to get 2+ touchdowns, but I should have trusted Diggs and given him that plus 90 something yards. I just didn't do that. But anyways, on to the next. We got Steelers Bengals. This was a tough one for me to choose. They were given like plus 6.5. And with them being divisional rivals, I figured that it would be a little bit close, not too close. I still think the Bengals are going to win, but I'm not going to get screwed by them being like a 6-point win or a 5-point win. So I chose to say over 44.5. I think the Bengals are going to score enough points, and also the Steelers are going to score enough points to keep it game in the first half. Bengals go ahead in the second half and just shut it out. Just like with this game, this was underneath. This was 31-10 for the Bills, but it's going to be similar. But I think the Steelers are going to score more than 10 points. Not much more, but I think they're going to score more than 10. And it's going to make it more than 44 points. I can see the Bengals scoring around 30, and the Steelers getting towards the high end of the teens, and that's going to just break them over the top at that point. I think that's what's going to happen, honestly. Then I have Eagles at Lions. This is it was tough for me to pick initially. I was kind of leaning towards Detroit covering the plus, well, not covering the spread, but like just having the plus 3.5 to keep them in the win. But I went towards Eagles minus 3.5. I think the Eagles can win. I think they're going to win by 7+, or I'd say 7-10, not being too drastic. But I think Detroit could win. They have the possibility, but I just don't I don't see it happening at this point. They definitely have the potential, and if the Eagles are underestimating them, then they may get beat as well. But I'm just kind of trying to go on the benefactor of myself and getting the best odds, and at least choosing between under overs and the spread. Will have another video out for this Sunday with player prop bets only. I'm talking like I had one today where they had a player prop bet on Josh Allen for passing yards, passing things, and he was at over 1.5 touchdowns. I took that with ease on my other spread, so that's still alive and well. So next, anyways, is the Colts at the Titans. I chose the Colts minus 8.5. That is a huge spread, and I get it. Texans, they may have gotten better a little bit. They definitely grabbed Jerry Hughes and was it Jordan? It wasn't Jordan Phillips. It was another defensive player from the Bills. He was a Carolina before us, but anyways, he grabbed some defense player from the Bills, but I think their offense is still a little short, and I see them, especially since Burkhead is their like number one running back, and who knows what the wide receivers at this point. Anyways, I said that Colts will beat them by more than 8.5 points. I almost went in my other parlay, Jonathan Taylor +2 touchdowns. And you know what the sad part is? It was +250 for him to get 2 touchdowns. I looked at 3+ just for shits and gigs. +750 for 3+ touchdowns that game. That's just enough to tell you. That is crazy. I chose him for my any touchdown at touchdown anytime that game player. I chose him for that game because I know he's getting a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor is getting in the end zone that game, no matter what. So on to the next one, we have the Saints at Falcons. The Saints are getting Saints are giving 5.5 to the Falcons, which is crazy because I mean, if that was at the Saints, that'd be like almost towards them giving them 9 points. Because when you generally go from home and away, if the away team is coming in and they're generally around the same, they're going to give them like +2.5 to +3, just because of home field advantage. But the away team is getting +5.5, so it's like almost a +9. So I took the +5.5 on the Saints side because I don't think the Falcons have much going for them. They did keep Cardinal Jones, and I think he'll be very big that game. But I still couldn't pick him for an anytime touchdown, even though I should have. I think he might get it, but I did cheat. I did choose the Saints at -5.5. I think they're going to do enough to beat them. Yes, quarterback is questionable, but I think their defense is well enough to handle the Falcons. They're not going to have any trouble. Then we have the Browns at the Panthers, and I chose to go Panthers -2.5. That is the spread when I chose it. I think I did put it back on Wednesday, or it was Tuesday or Wednesday when I did that bet, but it was 2.5. So I took that because I think Baker's going to come in with a mindset, and I just don't trust the quarterback for the Browns. I think they have the running backs because I chose Chubb as anytime touchdown scorer of that game because I think he's just going to get in. It's just a matter of time. But I don't think the Browns will win, and I don't think I think that Carolina, with McCaffrey being healthy and everything going on for them, I think they're going to win by at least 5. So I'm not worried about that numbers. Then we have the 49ers at the Bears. 49ers are giving 6.5 points. And I am going with that bet. They're the favorites. And I honestly think they're going to win. It's just the Bears might be the worst team this year in the entire league. Unless Justin Fields becomes the Pat Mahomes, the Josh Allen of right now, there is no way with them losing the number one wide receiver, losing Khalil Mack, and just bouncing back and getting better. So I see them being beat, the Bears being beat by at least 10. That's why I think it's going to be an easy 6.5 over to the 49ers. Plus, I have a running back over there, and I think he's going to do great. So at least I hope he does. I want him in fantasy as well. That's some good money. Oh, the betting odds and having fantasy as well, and being a football fan of your team and having to put players against your team on your fantasy squad is horrible. Anyways, Jaguars at Washington. I chose to go the Jags with a +3.5, which is not surprising. I thought Washington's squad was pretty weak. I mean, their defense is good with it rookie wise, but when it came to like playing and everything, like their quarterback, the whole team in general, I think the Jags have a better upside. Personally, I think Etienne. I put that in one of my bets this weekend. I think Etienne's going to get a touchdown, and I think it's just inevitable at this point. He's finally coming back from his injury. I think they're gonna try to get him out there, get enough playing time, and if they get a pass and they're within 5 to 10 yards, they're gonna try running Etienne out there, and he's gonna get a touchdown or get a catch and get a touchdown. It doesn't matter as long as he scores. And I just think they're gonna do better than the Washington at this point. They have Scary Terry back up there. I get it. They have their running back. They kept him because they kept him away from the Bills. I understand that. That's fine. I just don't think Washington's going to be enough to beat the Jags. I think the Jags are going to come in and do enough to beat them by at least 5 points, 5 to 7. It's not going to be a blowout or anything, but it's just going to be a thing where they don't even have to win by that much. They just don't have to lose by 3.5. I still think they win it. I could have gone money line if I wanted to, but I wanted to give myself a better chance of winning that bet. It's a 16-leg parlay, so it's drastic. Then Patriots Dolphins. I didn't want to touch that. I think it was like the odds. I think the differences were like the spread was like 1.5 or 2.5 or something. I didn't even want to touch those odds. So I went with the under on the 46.5. I think this is going to be very defensive, even though Belichick's defense has drastically dropped in like what his players can do. I think he's good enough to build players up to make it enough to. They know what Tua has done in the past couple of years. They know how to pressure him. They know how to do all this stuff. Same as the Bills. They know how to do everything like that against Tua because they've read Tua. They've had until Tua progresses to a point where they can't be messed with by just taking his first read. I'm just not going to trust him. But I'm not gonna trust Mac Jones to win the game either because they haven't done enough on the offense or defense. I just think it's gonna be such a tight game. I think it's gonna be like a 17-21 game where it's gonna be underneath that 46.5. And that's why like the under overs I take because it's just I don't want to take the risk. Yes, this is like when you see at the end, I only bet $2 on this. And I'll tell you the winnings at the end, but it's huge. I'm talking like 57K huge. Yeah, it's something stupid where it's like winning lotto at this point. It's like 200. It was like plus 268,000. Anyways, next game, Raven Jets. Same thing. Ravens were minus 7.5 on this game when I did it. And I did not trust the Ravens. I get like on my one of my parlays I did Lamar Jackson is gonna get a touchdown. Anytime touchdown. It makes sense. He's gonna run one in. I should have done one with a Josh Allen as well. That would have been 2 out of the 13 instead of 1. But whatever. Live and you learn. He's not always gonna get a touchdown. If he gets touchdown after game, that's 17 touchdowns. No quarterback gets 17 touchdowns in a year. So, I chose the over on 44.5. So I think the Jets defense and offense is going to be enough. Well, their defense is going to be enough to make it difficult, but I see both squads pairing off against each other and getting up to the 46, 47 point range. Which, oh, that's a lot of points, but that's like a 23-27 game. All they really need for them at this point is to be a 20 like a 27-21 or a 27 to even like a 20 or 18 or like 17. I just need them to get over 44.5 points. It's not that much. And I think they will. I think it'll be a very aggressive game. I think it'd be close. And I just didn't see the Ravens winning by 7.5. Okay. Then the next game was Raiders at the Chargers. So that's not really. I get it's a home game, but Chargers Rams they don't get much home crowd at that point. Just because of the area. It's nothing against LA. I think they just don't. When you're in Buffalo, all you think about is football, or even Central New York. That's literally your. I think about football every single day, all the time, especially after the 13-second bullshit. Anyways, I took the Chargers. They're giving 3.5 points. technically, since they're a home game, so if they're getting 3.5, you as a home team, you usually get about 2.5, 3. So it's probably only really a +1 to the Raiders at that level. But I saw the Chargers just with what they did on their defense this year and additions. They added Khalil Mack. They added um shit. The cornerback from the Patriots. I just can't think of his name right now. They added him. He's huge. He was one of the number close to number one cornerbacks last year. He was really good to coverage and even picks. So they're going to be big as long as they're playing to their potential on the defense and melding well. I haven't watched many of their preseason games. I don't follow their camps, but I see them beating the Raiders, even though I think the Raiders are going to do a good job this year. I just think the Chargers are going to be one of the teams the Bills face at the end of the year that I'm not going to want to face at a certain point. But I think the Bills will still win it. It's just going to be more of a difficult game. After that, we have the Giants at the Titans. I took Titans at -5.5. That's the spread at this point when I did it. The reason why I did that was because the Giants defense isn't good enough to hold back Henry. I almost took in my spread in my big parlay, other parlays, like with Jonathan Taylor and Henry, it comes to like their potential to get +2 touchdowns or +3 touchdowns is just disgusting. Especially when they're facing a weaker team that they can't handle the pass as it is. And if you try to pass and go towards that direction, then go past the run, Henry's gonna get probably 2 touchdowns that game. Not gonna lie, it might happen. But I only went for Henry for 1 at that point. But in the 16 leg parlay, I chose Titans -5.5. I don't see the Giants winning that game or even getting within 10 points. I think it could be a blowout, but I could see it being a competitive game with less than 10 points from the winner and loser. Okay. Only got 4 games left. Chiefs at the Cardinals. The Chiefs are actually getting 3.5 points here. Or giving 3.5 points here, sorry. So that means they're realistic getting about +7, 7.5, since they're not even the home team. But I think why it's like that is because Murray's out. I mean, no, Murray's there, but you have Hopkins out. But you have Hollywood Brown coming in. Yes, he had a couple weeks of being there with the team and starting to learn everything that goes on with everything and all that fun stuff, right? I just don't see Hollywood Brown caught up with everything. And from last year when Hopkins was hurt, and you guys all remember, oh my God, look at the Cardinals. They're 11-0, 12-0, whatever the hell it was. And look what they did in the postseason. Literally nothing. I don't even think they made it, which is sad. I think they did, but they lost the first round if they did. I can't even remember that point because they just were like, they weren't anything after being the top team left without losing. Anyways, I think this is going to be a big litmus test for Murray. Having to deal with all this shit and not having his number one receiver he's had for the past couple years. Hopkins is huge. I have him on fantasy. I picked him up early because I wanted him. So when he comes back after week 6, I know he's going to get the fucking targets. He's going to get massive targets. Anyways, I chose the Chiefs at -3.5 because even without having Hill and all that shit, I still think they're gonna be able to especially beat the Cardinals by around 7. Anyways, Packers at Vikings. This one, the spread was Packers -1.5. For me, that's too close. I mean, I get it. If it was Packers at home, that'd be like Packers -5. But it's in the Vikings territory. And I think the Vikings are good enough with their weapons that they possibly could beat Green Bay. And I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen. But I was uncomfortable with that spread, so I went with the under on 48.5. That means I don't think both teams are gonna get plus 24 points. Or yeah, pretty much. If it's 24-23, I still get it. I just think it's going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be like a 21-17 or 21-20 where they just don't get a chance to come back. Something along those lines. A 21-17 would be fine. I couldn't call who would be the actual winner because I think it's so close with the weapons on Minnesota, but I'm not gonna count out Aaron Rodgers either. I think Lazard's gonna get mad receptions when he comes in, and even though Watkins, the Watkins they came in was hurt as well, but the other Watkins that was with the Bills, he's a great player, and when he's actually active and not hurt, he's good. He can spread the ball around. So that's why I think it's going to be interesting with that game. So that's why I took the under. I think it's going to be a very defensive game. I think it's going to be very a run first game, especially with Cooks on Miami with Minnesota. I just see it being a very run first game. Even with Green Bay, I think with losing the number one wide receiver, and maybe he's not happy with his wide receivers, they're going to go more towards the run game, or even passing to the running backs, doing quick dump offs, doing some screens. They work, especially nowadays. They're huge. So, anyways, I did take the under in that. Buccaneers at Cowboys. I took the Bucks -1.5. I just think Tom Brady's gonna come back after all of that off-season bullshit. Oh, there's word of him having issues with his wife. Why did you come back? Why did you do this? He loves the damn game. Tom Brady came back because he loves football. Yes, I fucking hate him. I'm a Bills fan, so you can give it to me. You know what? Anyone in the AFC, they all hate him. But I'll give him this. He is the GOAT. And I think I don't think, see, when people say, oh, Belichick gave it to him, I don't think that's it. I think he's just smart. His circumstances gave that to him. Think about it. He has a wife who makes more than him through football, endorsements, and every single deal he has throughout the football. Maybe not after a certain age with her, but Tom Brady may grow some more eventually by being like an analyst or something. But throughout the years when he was doing football, he knew a supermodel wife was going to make way more than he was. And when you have that stuff to just sit on and not be stressed about it, you can have the ability to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give, I'm going to take actually a pay cut. I know top quarterbacks are getting like 25 mil a year. You know what? Give me 13 or 14 so that I could keep Gronk on my team, so they keep Edelman on my team, so they can keep Hightower and all these other defensive players on my team. Because that's what really matters. It's keeping the players on your team that keep you going forward. And I know with him going down towards Tampa Bay, he grabbed a little bit more money, but he's still towards like 20 something mil a year. He could have asked for way more, but he wants them to have the money to pay people to get more people in there for him. It makes sense. He's just searching a ring. Tom Brady isn't going to stop playing football until he literally can't play or he has 10 rings. And he can go like this with his thumb out and have all fucking 10 rings out. Anyways, I'm taking the Bucks at 1.5. I think the Cowboys are a good team. I think they're gonna fight for the NFC West, NFC East. I still think they're gonna win it. And then last game, Broncos Seahawks. Broncos at the Seahawks. Broncos are giving 6.5 points. That's like basically 10-point spread. If that's Broncos, I see Broncos taking it. I bet that the Broncos are gonna win the 6.5 spread in that point. That's the last on the 16 points, 16 leg parlay. I'll give you the details right now. And this is gonna be odds. Literally, I'm putting $2 on it, and I'm getting 57K if I hit. If I hit, that'd be like the lotto. It never happens. But if I do, I might become even internet famous by winning 57K, which really would be about, after taxes and all that state bullshit, probably 30K. It'd still be nice. I don't have the type of money right now. Anyways, some shout out to sponsors. I'd like to shout out Voodoo Ranger, uh, New Belgium. I love the New Belgium Voodoo Rangers. I drink them all the time. I'm not sponsored, but also I'd like to shout out Mr. Nasty Time. Look at the screen. Type it in exactly how it is. I think there's a couple more Y's in there, but I'll give you a link in my description. He recently put out a video like ranking all 32 teams, 1 to 32, and it was very interesting. And I think he'd be a good follow. We do some good things on there as well. At this point, I go to the brew tasting and ratings. I would give the Voodoo Ranger off of, honestly, the Voodoo Ranger Juice Force, I give it a 10 across the board. It's amazing. It's my favorite beer. You son of a cunt. Okay. For the ratings on my beer, I'd definitely give color. I love the color of that, honestly. A little low, but for an IPA, it's a really good color. I give it like a 7. For the taste, um, honestly, like a 10. 10 or 11, honestly, because 10, even 11 out of 10. I love the taste of it. It doesn't, for me, as a person who likes IPAs, it doesn't taste super strong. It doesn't taste super shitty. It tastes great. And then drinkability, another 9. Actually, I'll give it a 10 because I could drink that literally all night. If I had 3 of those big boy cans, that's all I would drink in a night. They're 9.5% at a pint apiece. Yeah, you could drink more if you wanted to. I definitely could, but I have to function next day. I got kids and a family and a job. So, bingeability, same thing. Like, you can binge these strong. Like, a binge with a 9.5 is like drinking 2 or 3. If you're feeling frisky, you can get like a 4. But I mean, you're not drinking like 5 big cans of those things because they're like an ounce. I mean, a pint, so they're like 19 point something ounces. So it's like a beer and 8 ounces. And there's only 12 ounces in a beer, so it's like a beer and 2/3. So you're not gonna drink that much within. You can. I'm not saying you can't, but which wouldn't be wise. Um, and honestly, design, I love it. I To me, I think Voodoo Rangers was great designs with the skeleton and everything. And give me a second beer pack. I'll grab the can. It looks like a damn pilot, like a Top Gun guy. They do super good stuff with this can. Makes you want to buy it. That's what made me want to try it in the first place when I was in California. And that was like 5 years ago, and I just fell in love with Voodoo Ranger. It just tasted so good. Anyways, so we're gonna be at the end of this video. It's been long enough. I'm sure there's a weird gap in time with like filming because my phone died. But I'd like to say definitely go check out Mr. Nasty Time. I'll be putting a link in my description for the actual link to his channel. And for upcoming videos, I'm going to be doing my other parlays for the weekend, which I kind of described to this partially. Not fully, but just partially. Just a better description of everything I did in them. And just saying, like, hey, you have the ability to just, if you look through each game, not every game is going to have passing props or rushing props or anything, or like passing for QB's props and things like that. Like, not every game is going to have like, oh, this player's going to get 1.5 touchdowns passing. That's for the games like with Burrow and Josh Allen and Mahomes. Even Mahomes didn't have that on his. I think maybe it could have been too obvious, but maybe just matchups. But anyways, I'll be going more thoroughly through those. And I have a couple. I might go through 1 or 2 of what I have, but then honestly, just I might do a reaction just to all the Sunday night games, all the Sunday games and Monday night games on Tuesday. Just a reaction to the first week of the schedule. See how I did on my 16-leg parlay, how I choose across the board, missed 1 or 2, 5, 6, whatever it is. Okay, and I like to give a big go Bills, 31-10. But you guys have a good night, and hopefully you're a Bills fan because you enjoyed it. If you're a Rams fan, I'm sorry.